You're listening to Laugh Out Loud with Dave and JJ.
Hello, JJ Yaley speaking. How we doing?
I am here. So let me get your take on the new point system. Everybody wants to know, how is that going to help you if it rains now? Is it going to hurt you? What's going to happen after the first 5 races?
Well, obviously by them changing the point system, it doesn't really change a lot. I mean, at the end of the day, the points will be closer because there's less of a spread between each position. So, obviously on paper it's going to look tighter throughout the year, but it's still going to get reset. When Chase rolls around. I do think it was pretty cool that they changed it to where it's the top 10 plus the 2 highest race winners. Of course, I don't know what happens when there's 3 guys that have all won a race and that's the tie, if they're going to fall back to points or how they determine it. I haven't seen the fine print on what they're going to do with it.
I would think probably, overall standings, top 5s, top 10s, break it down, something like that.
Right, and obviously that makes the most sense. Leading back to the changes for if qualifying is rained out but you've practiced, that's, to me, I think that's probably the fairest thing that they could do to all the teams that have showed up. Last year I don't know that situation came about more than maybe once or twice. But, it's just fair for the teams that obviously were fast enough and it didn't get saved by the fact of the rain come down. So hopefully you're not in any one of those positions where you have to worry about anything. But it's nice to see on one side that NASCAR's trying. At the other end of the spectrum, I know that we just went through a major hurdle of trying to find new rear truck arms, which locate the rear end to the frame. NASCAR just made a rule recently that the thickness in which the material that's used to make them can't be less than 117,000. Well, all of the truck arms that we own, and I believe probably 75% of the truck arms that are NASCAR, are 115,000. So for 2,000s, they've eliminated huge amount of inventory. All of the the big teams that make all their own materials and a lot of their own parts went out and snatched up a good amount of the material. The other problem, the manufacturers are getting to the point where the chassis manufacturers that make a lot of parts aren't going to start. They're not going to make these parts anymore. Because I'm sure there's a huge inventory sitting somewhere that's now obsolete. And obviously there's thousands or millions of dollars of material or equipment that's now good for nothing other than scrap metal. So, you have NASCAR talking about saving teams money by cutting out a set of tires of, $2,000, but yet, things like this going on that, 0.02 of an inch isn't going to make life or death, or the difference between something that's going to, just bend in natural racing. This is basically what everyone had. And obviously, it's good that they made a rule so it doesn't get too out of hand with people and the teams that are out there trying to skim every little bit of weight that they can. But I'm sure that NASCAR knew what, they check all this stuff. They know what all the teams had to, to go out there and make it so minuscule of a difference, and, obviously cost a lot of teams time and money.
That's really staggering. I'm very stunned.
So, that's the disappointing thing. And obviously, that's not stuff that's publicized every day, and there's a lot of people that didn't even know about it, or even in the racing industry, but, knowing that it was a problem with our team, and, we were lucky enough to find 5 sets through another manufacturer, and, we tried to get some from, Childress or some of the teams that we've bought cars from last year, and, they weren't going to be available to us for up to 3 weeks. So we'd be getting truck arms barely before we'd have to go to Phoenix, which obviously would eliminate us from being in Daytona. So.
Wow. Do you know that blizzards are on sale throughout Canada and the United States right now?
Is that with the Reese's peanut butter? Those are my favorite.
Actually, you can pick just about anything. Salt from the road, stones, flowers from your neighbor's garden. If you're good, get them in a cup, spin them up, and away you go.
Yes. And even in Dallas, they're serving up with sand in order to get the media from the hotel to the stadium.
Hey, that's good. That's one way to move traffic. Speaking about the bowl, the Super Bowl, do you have a fan favorite?
I think I'm going to go for the Packers. I don't know why it is. I'm not a big Pittsburgh guy. You know, I was a huge Bradshaw fan.
Yeah,
but,
he's now in a wheelchair.
No, he's not. But you know, it just the Green Bay Packers, they played hard. Aaron Rodgers, you know, obviously they've fought it out. I don't know that maybe it's because the Steelers knocked the Cardinals out a couple of years ago, and I mean that was like the one shot in the history of national football that the Cardinals had an opportunity, and you know, it looked like there in the last couple of minutes that they were going to do the old swan song and win the whole ball of cheese, but it did not happen.
Well, the good thing is I think you've got two really good, evenly based teams, you know, offense, defense, special teams. I just think it'll be either a very close game or it's going to be an absolute blowout for both sides. You know, it could be 30-something to 30-something or, you know, 10-13. And good for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he, you know, rode around behind Brett Favre for years, and, you know, and now he's been there for, I guess, 4 as a starting quarterback since Favre is on to many people and other things on his phone and not handling the football so much anymore. But he's got his hands full of other stuff. So, you know, so good for him. You know, good for him.
Wow, I guess is it in Canada that you're guilty until proven innocent?
Yeah, no, you're innocent until proven guilty.
They do it backwards up there because so far he hasn't done anything wrong.
No, it cost him $25,000 or something. The NFL hit him with a big fine. That's huge, eh? For texting. So, oh well. The weather's bad, and obviously it's been bad for you guys as well. Did you get hit with any of this storm?
No weather here in Charlotte. We've had a little bit of rain, light amount of rain, and you know, the weather on Sunday was beautiful. I mean, I spent a lot of time washing Kristen's car. Thought it was going to be great. Should have been out golfing. Thought about it on Monday. Unfortunately, Faith came down with a fever, and weather turned junky, and you know, just trying to get things accomplished here at the house before, obviously, next week. It seems like once it gets started, it's going to be wide open as usual, and you know, I have to leave Wednesday and hit the Daytona for media day on Thursday. They got all the Bud shootout practice going on Friday, and then we start practicing on Saturday. So, you know, the cars painted, and you know, right now we're waiting on our bullet come in from Murney Elliott. I think you know, hopefully, I know as of right now, I think that's, you know, the biggest question mark for us going into Daytona. I know that with all the relationships that Tony Furr and the guys have with various teams, you know, we've got some we've got a special rear-end housing that they didn't have at Talladega. Hopefully, are the little bit that, you know, that it takes in order to be quick. You know, I noticed from the practice that, you know, a lot of teams were fast from the get-go and stayed fast. Some teams, you know, unloaded extremely slow and were able to find a second. And it's hard to do. I mean, it's especially hard to do at Daytona because, you know, you have to work in such a small box on what you're allowed to work on. You know, when you're given your shocks and your springs, and you have to try to figure out from there. So it's, you know, I'm hoping that, like I said, with all those relationships they have, we can unload close. It would be fantastic to unload and qualify and be one of the fastest 2 guys and not have to worry about anything that can happen once you go on a racetrack to go race in the Gatorade 150. But huge unknown going into real drafting practice and real racing on the new asphalt. Mm-hmm. I know anytime we used to go and test, before obviously they redid the racetrack, that you could go out there and an 8 or 10 car pack was nothing like the qualifiers or even what the Daytona 500 with all 43 cars on track at once. So it was always just kind of you fooled yourself. You went out there, and you know, when I was at Joe Gibbs Racing, you know, always had one of the fastest cars. Not that we didn't once, you know, the rest of the field showed up and we were all racing for, you know, trying to win the race, but all of a sudden, you know, the competition stands up, and you know, obviously then it turns into a game of drafting and hoping that you have a dancing partner and who's going to go with you, who's not, and you know, that seems to always be the biggest thing, is having enough friends that you can go out there and keep up in the right line with.
Now, with the penalties that were handed down, unfortunately, to Whitney near the end of the season last year, once the season's over, that's done. So Tony's okay. Anybody else that was affected, are they okay to return to Daytona now?
As of right now, everyone has been reinstated except for Tony. I know that he's had some conversations with some of the people in NASCAR, the powers to be. Mm-hmm. I actually believe they probably had a meeting today or tomorrow, so hopefully we'll know this week exactly what Tony has in store for him. Yeah. You know, to me, I still understand why they just didn't reinstate him like they did everyone else. But
I think worst case scenario is they'll make him sit out 1 or 2 races, which obviously we'd love to have him in Daytona. I think that would be very important. But it is what it is, and we'll have to deal with the cards we're dealt. But we should know here hopefully in the next 2 days.
Now, I guess when we get looking at the new point system, and obviously it's going to make racing a lot closer. The finish is a lot, I think, a lot greater, and to know that that car in front of you could be only 3 points or 5 points, like it was prior to 2011. To now know that it's only a point. You think of teams that are going to, whether they crash out and they finish last, they blow up or whatever. A couple of strings of that, that's still going to be, before you used to get 34 points for finishing last, and now you're going to get 1. The difference between first or last to first is 42 points. So it's going to be interesting to see, especially if there are fines and penalties, which I'm sure there will be throughout the season, how NASCAR will actually hand those down, because before, to give someone a 100 or 150 point penalty, that's a huge penalty. But I mean, if you're hitting a team that is struggling and they don't even have 150 points to give you, it could pretty much draw close to a season.
Sure, and that's a very good point. And from watching all of the various conferences and meetings that were held by NASCAR, it'll be interesting to see what that fine is reduced to. Because, like you said, that's huge. So now what used to be 150 points or 100 points, is that now going to be 15 points?
Yeah.
And hopefully someone's thought of that, because I hadn't thought of that up until you brought it up. And it's going to be interesting for a fan to look at it. 5, 8, 10 races in. Of course, it's going to be more exciting because it may only be 5 or 10 points that are separating the top 10 in points. When you're talking 1 point per position. Right now, I think we've got the new J.J. Yeley Facebook page, the official J.J. Yeley, versus the unofficial J.J. Yeley pages that are out there. It may take a little while for me to to get the hang of it. It took me a while to get the hang of the Twitter, but I managed to do that without hurting myself. Unfortunately, at certain points, tweeted when I should not have tweeted. And have paid the consequences for it, but what the hell, you gotta have fun with it, and
yes,
I thought that's what it's there for. Some people really enjoy it and really get a kick out of it. Some people take it a little too close to heart, and obviously, if you know me very well at all, most of the time whenever I'm talking about anything, unless it's family related or racing, there's a pretty good chance.
I'm pretty sure I know what nail you're hitting with the hammer.
Yeah, there's a funny involved with most of it, but
yes,
not always.
That's right. Got to watch out for the mama jokes.
The mama jokes?
Yeah, the mama jokes.
No, it had nothing to do with Bill.
No?
Leave Bill out of it. No,
okay.
No.
Okay.
It was lots of fun.
Oh, good.
The friendly banter between me and Mr. Bill Lester and a couple of the other people that jump on there. But
well, you're increasing. I mean, you're at 3392. So if we can sway all of those over to Facebook before the end of tomorrow. That should just drive Karen.
Yeah, so there's the push.
There's the push. So, and I'm not sure how Facebook, how it works, if it's similar to how Twitter was, but when we first set up your Twitter account, and, we do know that I did receive an email or two, from people jumping on board and following you, so I'm not sure if it's set up similar to how Facebook recognizes when you've got a new friend, if it tells you.
Exactly.
Is that what it does? Yeah.
Yes.
So we only need to get 3,000 people before Friday. Should we give something away and then see if Karen's computer blows up?
Yeah, I'm game for that. One last thing to remind everybody that they have 15 days to get their picks in for the 2011 J.J. Yeley Fantasy NASCAR Sprint Cup pool. And you're going to put some twists into that this year. 2 separate winners at the end of the year, 1 fan club member and 1 non-fan club member, 2 random draws throughout the year, a winner of a week or something along that line. People need to go to jjyeley.com, click on the Trackside Pools tab, print out the entry form, and get it in the mail.
And try to beat me, because this year I'm staying on top of it.
Astastic.
Last year I relaxed.
All right. Yeah. Well. Okay. All right, guys. Well, listen. Have a great, safe Speed Weeks, and keep us up to date. Tweet as much as you can, and so we can keep things happening. And don't forget, send me an email with your picks. Obviously, you don't have to mail them, right? So,
okay.
Just tell me who you guys want and team names, and get Kristen to send off a mail message.
Okay, we're on it.
All right, man.
Thanks, David.
Be safe,
Karen.
Thank you.
You both have a lovely evening.
You
too. Here, man.
All right, thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Here, guys. Bye.
Bye.